Agnes Milowka's story is sad, but we can take comfort in the fact that she got to be a cave explorer, which was her dream. Tent Cave is one of the best of the many caves near Mount Gambier. Agnes was trying to figure out what was in the cave until she died too soon. Tent Cave is called that because there is a water tank right on top of the entrance. It is in mid to Gambier, which is in South Australia. Because the entrance is underground, you have to climb down a short ladder to get into the cave. This entrance is closely watched by the Cave Divers Association of Australia. Tent Cave is a rare gem and divers enjoy swimming through it. The cave has a small opening, but it leads to a large maze-like system with over 23,000 feet, 10 meters, of passages that divers can swim through. It also has a lot of tunnels on the sides. The cave isn't very deep. Its deepest point is about 65 feet, 20 meters. Its water is so clear that you can dive through it with no trouble and see everything. Tent Cave is one of Australia's longest underwater caves, and most of it is connected by a fixed line. But there was one thing about the cave that made it very dangerous. Its system is very complicated and looks like a wild spider web. Cave divers must go through the step-by-step guide to learn about the cave before they can go in. This is to avoid accidents. For a dive in Tent Cave to go well, all of the rules must be followed correctly. It's amazing that many things have been found in Tent Cave, but there's still so much more to find there. Like the old saying goes, the more you look into this cave, the less you can see. As you go deeper into this cave, you will start to learn more about it. Divers who want exciting but risky adventures should always go to the cave. This is because the cave had tight rules and it was hard to see inside because there wasn't much room for the body. Some parts of the cave are so tight that some explorers may have to pull their tanks out of the way to get through. The fact that the cave is closed in isn't so great because the roof and walls are so soft and squishy. So big pieces of the roof fall on divers as they take a breath. This changes the way the water looks, making it hard to see clearly. Agnes Milowka was a woman with a lot of drive who explored caves all over the world. She was born in Australia on December 23, 1981. Agnes was a very skilled diver. She had certifications like PADI Open Water, Advanced Open Water and Rescue, CDAA Advanced Cave, TDI Advanced Trimix, and many more. She never wanted to be a technical diver, but she said everything just happened on its own. She followed her passion into the deepest waters and caves where she felt the best of herself. This led her to become a technical diver. She was also a cave explorer, an author, an underwater photographer, and a maritime archaeologist. Agnes took part in many international diving projects and documentaries. Agnes became known around the world as a diver, which wasn't a surprise since she always went into deeper cave systems in Australia and Florida. She went diving in places no one else had been before, and she was always successful. In her work as a diver and maritime archaeologist, she was also a public speaker and an author. Agnes's life showed that she worked hard at what she loved. Agnes did an internship with the Lighthouse Archaeological Maritime Program, LAMP, which was the research house of the St. Augustine Lighthouse and Museum in St. Augustine, Florida. During the summer of 2007, Agnes helped dig up old shipwreck sites to find out more about them. This job got her into diving in Florida, where she explored large cave systems. Agnes became more and more obsessed with going into caves because she was always drawn in by the sight of unknown passages and where they led. She was known for going on adventures, making maps of new cave systems, pushing the limits, and most importantly, bringing pictures back from her trips. She showed these pictures to the world so that people could see what they couldn't see with their own eyes. Agnes Milowka, who graduated from Gliders University, became interested in cave diving when she saw a hole at the bottom of Piccaninny Ponds near Mount Gambier in 2004. The Elk River Streamway cave system was explored by Agnes and James Arundale. It has passages that are 4,600 feet, 1,400 meters long. This cave could become the longest place where a stream flows continuously in Victoria, Australia. Agnes held the record for the longest cave dive by a woman in Australia until 2009 when she reached the halfway point of Craig Challen's 2008 line on an expedition near Cocklebiddy. In 2008, she worked for TV stations like Discovery Channel Japan and the National Geographic Nova TV expedition. And in 2009, she was part of a group that went to Queensland, Australia to look for sinkholes. Agnes helped take pictures during the National Geographic magazine trip to the Bahamas caves. She strung more than 13,000 feet, 4,000 meters of line through several cave systems, with Baptizing Spring being the most important mission. Between Peacock Springs and Baptizing Spring, she and James Tolan added more than 9,800 feet, 3,000 meters. Because it was her passion, she started a TV show called Agnes Milowka Project, in which she showed underwater cave footage shot by Wed Smiles and Cars Productions. During the making of James Cameron's movie, she taught the actors how to cave dive. In 2011, she was named a Dive Right Ambassador. And finally, she worked as a diving supervisor for the fashion label TRIMAPE in their short film Bartha. In honor of her death, the movie was named after her. Agnes talked to a Polish radio station before the incident in the tank cave. When asked if the death of a fellow diver made her a little bit nervous, she said, "I'm not afraid to dive. Anyone at any point can pass away, so you should live every day as if it could be your last. I really enjoy diving and I don't think anything will stop me from doing it. There are risks though. Every extreme sport has its own risks. It doesn't always work out, but you do everything you can to not only do that one dive, but to keep diving for many years. After all, that's what it's all about, living long. You have to dive safely but live as if every day is going to be your last." Even though she was afraid of dying, she didn't let that stop her from doing what she loved, and she stayed true to herself until her last breath. Many people would think Agnes had never been to the tank cave before after hearing about the bad thing that happened. It wasn't, however. She had explored the tank cave several times in the past, and she also wrote about the cave's system, calling it the crowing jewel of all the caves in the region. She said, though, that the cave's system was so complicated it was like a spider web gone crazy. This, in essence, was to warn intending cave explorers to be extremely careful while navigating the tank cave. During her expedition to Tank Cave, which she tweeted about on Friday, February 25, 2011, Agnes was exploring the extensive labyrinth of caves. Agnes ran out of air and died because she had lost her way. Her body was found about 550 meters from the entrance, 66 feet underwater in a tight part of the cave. She was not trapped where she died, though. Agnes died because she stirred up mud from the walls and floor of the cave when she lost her diving buddy. It was as if she remained calm until her last breath while she was trying to extricate herself. She couldn't see anything and couldn't get out of the cave until she ran out of air. Her death could also have been a result of her aggression in the winding and narrow tunnels after diving into a very narrow rocky passage, which took divers about an hour to reach. She was left alone because the place she dove into couldn't occupy 2 divers at a time. However, it is not against the rules to dive by yourself under certain conditions. On Sunday, February 27, at about 1:45 p.m., the person was reported missing. Before they could find her body, her fellow divers had to work very hard. The retriever team had hoped that they could find her body without drilling through the ground above, as some people had suggested. The entrance to the cave gave the divers a hint about how to pair up. They positioned emergency tanks along the path they found to their deceased friend. The retriever team, which included her diving buddy, Dr. Harris, found her body about 1,970 feet, 600 meters, into the cave system, several hours after the missing report. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like what you saw, click the like button. Think about subscribing to our channel and click the bell button so you'll know when we post another exciting cave diving story.